Here.
Thank you very much, members of the Board of Education. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dinoff, District Public Advocate. And I'm also running for State Representative of the 64th Legislative District, and I'm running for a top priority to protect and enhance public education. As you all know, in the state legislature, our public school districts, our 563 public school districts are under attack, and funding is starting to decline and be taken away from our school districts. When it comes to the superintendent search, I reached out to the secretary of the board, Mrs. Marks, and I would like to be on that search committee. I think it's very important to have a few members of the public to make sure that we get a great candidate for at least another decade. I'd like to see a long-term candidate stay in the superintendent search. It's a very critical position. We need someone who's engaged, a great communicator, does not play politics, who's fair, and who's a real leader to lead our district into the next century. I think it's very important. And so I would ask that I be included in that process, as I see it's on your agenda and there's a timeline. When it comes to the contract, let's not make the same mistake that the Wentzville R4 school district did by giving a superintendent a 3-year extension of a contract in February and then firing her in April, and the Wentzville School District had to pay out $1.3 million of lost taxes to the taxpayers. Our state legislative session is coming up, and I asked that I would like to make monthly reports to the board, and I would ask for a time slot on the agenda for 5 to 7 minutes to give you updates of the legislation that starts in January. Let's see here, when it comes to the transportation center, I have a few issues with the transportation center. Did anybody contact the Francis House School District? They are building, and they are going to approve a contract very shortly also for a transportation center from scratch. And they included showers and locker rooms for both women and men. And I didn't see that on the plans that were given by the consultants. And I think that's very important when you're talking about mechanics who deal with grease and oil and other substances and chemicals, that they have a place to wash and shower and to leave the facility clean. And I don't see that that was added in the proposal. Now, Wright Construction came in at $9.4 million, and I see the lowest bid was, I believe it was LCL at $9.3 million, and I would also recommend the Bay Wash system for an additional supplemental of $353,000. And I did look up the company. They're located at 1024 Cool Springs Industrial Drive, which is right around the corner. So that's good that they're going to be providing economic development, be hiring O'Fallon and St. Charles County residents. And I would ask you to look into the shower and the locker rooms and make the best possible facility for our employees. I think they should be your top priority. Thank you.
All right, next we have our consent agenda. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion.
Mr. Pratt, second please. Ms. Bird, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, financial reports.
All right, thank you again. So this is the report ending August 31st. Again, not much in the way of expenditures or revenue in our summer months. The revenue, because we kind of wait till property taxes start, or we had grant expenditures and we can claim reimbursement on them. And the biggest expenditure we have as a district, we're people oriented. Our biggest expenditure is people, and most of our employees don't start getting checks until September. They were paid out, if you're a teacher and you're done, you're kind of paid out in June. We print all those checks in June, so they're June expenditures. So the July and August is very low on our books expenditure-wise. That's why you also see on the graph under revenue and expenditures how low the expenditures typically is in July and August. But we did finish with an ending balance of $5 million. Of that, we actually had 121.5 invested and 122.5 altogether. It was just kind of the timing of our cash flows. There's normally more in just what you'd call a typical checking account than investments, but we knew we didn't have a big expenditure coming up. And I think on September 1st, we had a couple of bigger investments mature and go into the account and be ready for those big payrolls we have starting in September and October and November. And then as I noted, our revenues, they're rarely flat. You can kind of see that straight line if you look at the graph from January through November, and then they just shoot up and kind of go back down. We were higher. You can see the bar for this year is higher than the other months, and that was because of an E-rate payment that I understand Paul and JB and Jeff have worked really hard on to receive. It's $960,000. There's nothing easy about getting those E-rate payments, but when you hear $1 million essentially in revenue, it was worth all the time and effort to get that done. That was great. Expenses are similar in the same way. You can see the lines a little higher through August, and I just gave credit to JB. I'm going to blame him for that one because they purchased 1.15 million in Chromebooks. It's kind of what made it a little higher, but once you get into September month, it evens out. It was just the timing. You know, we bought it a week before we did last year, and in your cash basis, it's when the timing of the expense happen is when you're recording. And I've been saying this for a while. Next month, we'll start to see more expenditures. Any questions?
I need a motion to approve the financial reports as presented. Ms. Burke, second. Dr. Marion, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Dr. Myers?
I've just lost my connection, so. Just a second. I do, just off the top of my head. First item under old business is a construction update from Lisa Kester. What we've asked to do is kind of give the board and the public a review of some of the major projects and also some of those projects that may not be as obvious. Things like the flooring updates that we've done. And so Lisa's going to walk us through some visual components, and you can see that obviously in your packet as well. There's no motion or action on this item, but we thought this was a good time to come back and kind of show how we're carefully spending those taxpayer dollars. And so Lisa,
Sure.
I'm going to take it over.
Thank you, Dr. Myers. I thought it'd be easier just to stand up here and point this. But the bond issue, we've done a lot over the summer, and I wanted to give you some updates on some of the bigger projects as well. So I think we made a lot of big improvements. At North Middle School, that 2-story classroom wing is under construction, as you can probably see from Highway 70. We're going to be doing some additional site work has started, and then that should be done by the end of winter break as well. The 2-story addition, we're on schedule now to also have that completed during winter break. The existing cafeteria area, renovations to the existing library, and the remaining site work will be completed in August of 2025 once we tear down the old 2-story. Okay, so this is so hard to see, but this is I took some pictures. This is the construction of the 2-story. The upper level is just a normal classroom. The bottom level is where our storm shelter is at. This is the front where the main office and the library and the fax room will be. It's in the lighter colored brick. And then the upper part that you see, that's all like roof screening to hide units, things like that. And then tall ceilings for the library. It will have some tall ceilings in there. Also in North Middle School inside, I just kind of took some pictures. The first picture where you see the green, that's going to be a nice connecting corridor from the new building to the existing cafeteria. So it'll be real nice and bright with the windows up there. The middle is the courtyard that we've created in the middle of between the old building and the new. So the kids, the students will have some opportunity to go out there. They can also get direct access from the fax room in the library. So the hope is maybe they can put some planters out there, use it for maybe some spices, things like plants that they can use in their cooking, things like that. And then that was just a big picture of the big staircase going to the 2-story wing. And I think it'll look really nice and grand once it's all said and done. That is oh, I went the wrong way, sorry. North High School, the construction of the new Commons Addition has been completed, and the students are in there and using it. The construction of the new storm shelter / multi-purpose area and the main entrance completion is scheduled for the end of December. The renovations to the library are under construction. We just have a few minor things to do in there, and then we'll have it done. And then the renovations to the main office has been completed. So this is a outside picture of the new exterior for the cafeteria. There's 2 entrances on this directly from the courtyard area. And this is inside. We were able to update the existing cafeteria. That's the picture on the left. Put new ceiling tile in there, new paint, new flooring. It really looks brighter and nicer. And then the picture on the left is just kind of some accent walls that we put in with some high top tables. It gave us more seating with less floor space. So that really has helped out for them in there.
Lisa, I don't want to interrupt your flow on this, but it is hard to express if you don't see some of the before and after, but the cafeteria improvement and the change that makes in that facility for our students, it's, when I've gone through, and I was there at the start of the school year, talking with staff and then a little bit with students, it's just such a night and day difference. And I think that's the same impact you're going to see over here at North Middle.
Right.
Going from that kind of older 2-story wing with some of the HVAC issues and into that new facility. But this is really a remarkable transformation between the flooring and the lighting. So really well done.
It is. It looks, and I wanted to include some before, but I was running out of, I wanted to keep it a little shorter. But yes, it does look totally different. And then this is North High on the exterior. This is the new storm shelter / gym and the main entrance. We've got the precast exterior, and then I think the architects did a great job by adding in the north is actually etched into the precast. So that's really going to look nice, and there's going to be some canopies on it to kind of really add some accent color so it doesn't look so plain. We just haven't gotten that far yet. This is on the picture on the left, that's the north, that's etched into the precast panels, and there will be some bench seating there for the kids to use while they're waiting. And then the picture on the right is a courtyard area that we have put in between the old library and the new storm shelter. So they have a place to gather, you know, hopefully they can sit out there and enjoy the sunshine, maybe if they're reading or whatever. So it should be a really nice place when we're all done. This is inside the new main office area. This was a huge improvement to this main office. We took out some, I don't know if you remember, but it had big storefronts that were little glass panels, and it was very closed in looking, and the staff just sat in random desks around that area. You didn't kind of know where to go when you entered, who was supposed to greet you. So this is so much nicer, so much more organized, and definitely brighter. So I think this is a huge improvement for the staff. And once we get the new main office, or the new main entrance done, we'll be able to move even a couple more employees out of that area and up front. So it should help out a lot. Mike Clemens Center addition, that was a 13,000 square foot addition, and we completed it prior to the school year starting. And it features a new storm shelter / multi-purpose area, staff workrooms, and classrooms. Looking from the outside, you can't hardly tell that there's an addition put on. They've matched all the exterior elements really nice. It's the back section that we added on the picture on the right, and then the picture on the left is actually on the back side of that addition, so you can kind of see that there's more entrances there.
And just to add for this in terms of like refresher, this new addition is actually hosting our Elevate program, and one of the key parts of that is that was previously housed in early childhood, and that's a program for 18 to 21-year-olds with job skill training for students who have special education needs. And so this actually creates a facility now that we can use for that program to give those skills in a developmentally appropriate setting. And it's really turned out nice for that group of students. We have not previously had that and been able to offer that as standalone programming at a facility like this. So a really significant change, and that's something that has come to the board in previous years about the need for that support.
Right.
So just wanted to add that kind of. piece to it.
Sure. Yeah, and this, on that picture on the right, that's another entrance that Elevate program is utilizing a lot for their needs to accept deliveries, things like that, without interrupting the function of the Mike Clemens Center. So I think that's been a good improvement for them. This is just some interior pictures. This is a corridor coming from the existing building going into the new, and this is the new storm shelter / multi-purpose area that they're using in the building. We tried to keep it the same color scheme, things like that, so it just kind of all flowed and looked nice. This is just the hallways where the classrooms are, and then a teacher workspace. We set up cubicles, and then they have a break room all included in one, so they don't have to travel to the original part of the building. It keeps them closer to the students, so. HVAC improvements. We did 4 schools this summer. We did St. Peter's, Lewis and Clark, Hawthorne, and Twin Chimneys. Out of those 4 schools, you'll be glad to know that we eliminated 132 unit ventilators. And it is so nice to have them gone. We also did some additional units for some common areas, maybe like some gyms or whatever. We just assessed the age of the equipment. So we got a lot done this summer at those 4 schools. This is the back side of Twin Chimneys. Just to give you an idea, this is kind of our plan moving forward with these schools with the metal roofs. We can't put anything on the roof because it's metal, so we're putting them on the ground outside, and then we're putting fencing around them to hide them. So what we did at Twin Chimneys, I think we added 4 of the white fenced areas, and inside, as you can see in that one picture, you can see a big piece of equipment in the inside of it. So that's kind of what we're doing on the elementary schools that are our prototype buildings. Let me back up. At Lewis and Clark and St. Peter's, it's an older building, so when you approach that building, you will see a lot of little units up on the roof that we added, because about every classroom has its own piece of equipment, which is kind of nice, because if something fails, only one room is affected versus a lot, but it does add to the look of the outside. But they seem to all be very happy. This is a typical classroom where a unit ventilator was removed. I did not have a really good picture of a before, but as you can see under the windows, that's where the old unit vents used to be. So we gained probably about 18 square feet or more in every classroom, and the teachers, as you can tell, are using that space for their storage or whatever. So I've heard really good feedback. They're happy with no noise, and it seems very comfortable. Auditorium improvements. We did South High and North High probably received the biggest improvements this summer. East and West also received theirs, but it was more in tools that they need, like some sound equipment, things like that. Nothing you would really see by the eye. But at South High and North High, we replaced the auditorium seating, we replaced flooring, and we replaced some aisle lighting at South High. So they look really good. This is South High, so we got all new carpeting, we repainted the floors, we got new chairs. We still have to get the lighting in the balcony upstairs. We had a delay on the shipment, so that's still coming. But then the picture to the right, or to the left, kind of shows you with the aisle lighting on. But I think it looks beautiful, finished. This is North High. Again, same thing there. New seats. Kind of goes with their color scheme. Instead of rust, they're now green. So they're real excited to get something that matches their school theme. And then they have lighting on their chairs. And that's just the way that building was set up originally. We just kept with that original. Flooring improvements. We did quite a bit. We had jail mud. That was probably the biggest project we took on this summer. DeBray Middle School, Mid Rivers Elementary, West High, and East High. Jail mud, I don't know if you guys had been in there prior, but we replaced all the flooring in the corridors and the classrooms except for in the newest wing that was built in 2004. So there, we went with bright tile. Stephanie Mountain loved the idea of putting all the primary colors in, so it was a fun project to do, and I think the kids really enjoyed it. So we added a lot of bright colors at that school, and then we kind of matched the colors with the paint. The paint was already done, but they really like the tile, and I really like the hopscotch and that they add to the floors. I think it adds to it. We also replaced all the ceramic tile in the restrooms. They had the 1-inch little ceramic tiles on the floors, and they were really looking sad. So we went ahead and replaced those, and actually makes the bathrooms, I think, look bigger. DeBray Middle School, we replaced the library carpeting in there. It was original from 1996, so this is a real big improvement. It was a maroon color, and now we've got it more neutral, and they're real happy with that. Mid Rivers Elementary, the board approved for us to replace the carpet in the two-story wing over there. It had carpet in all the classrooms, and we took the carpet out and we put VCT. Teachers seem to be very happy and excited about having the VCT and no more carpet. And the only room we left carpet in was in the music room, and we kept it real vibrant and colorful, and it looks really well. West High School gym floor replacement. This was a project that we had talked about replacing the gym floor, or just refinishing it. We ran into some issues on it, if anybody recalls. So we ended up having to replace the gym floor, and I just wanted to show you how beautiful it turned out. It's nice and bright, the colors look good. I think Anthony picked out great graphics, and I just think it looks like a great facility right now. And I just wanted to say thank you. We did a great job, and we got a lot done, and I think it turned out perfect. So if anybody has any questions, I'll answer them.
Lisa,
Yes.
how many square feet roughly did we add to Mike Clemens?
That was, off the top of my head, I think it was like 20-something thousand.
Okay.
Was it 13? That was the 13,000.
13. Okay.
I think I said that.
And while Lisa's looking, I think some of the other things that we talk about, and this was a good example.
It was
hearing
13.
her go through the volume of projects, kind of takes us back to what is your capacity to move these projects forward? Because all of this is routing through essentially Lisa's office with a pretty limited staff. And so this was probably capacity this summer. I think the 4 HVAC those were pretty significant projects, plus 4 major
Right.
construction projects going alongside of it. But sorry, I just wanted to.
It was a lot, and I thank the board for allowing us to hire a construction manager, because that helped out tremendously, and also having Louis Gilbert help out, because it took every bit of their time and mine to make sure we met our schedules. So
You said it was 13,000.
13,000 square feet.
And next item, stay with Lisa. If you need to take a break or get a drink or anything, go ahead. But facility planning, transportation center bid recommendation. And Lisa, I know the question you're going to want to answer is, do we have showers at that facility?
We do. We have both men and women showers separated so that we can accommodate both. So we have that included. We're good. Thank you, Dr. Myers. I had in your board packet a recommendation for the transportation center. We bid that out last week, Tuesday on the 10th. We had 7 bids received, which was a really good turnout for this project. We solicited bids for a lump sum price from a general contractor for about 20,500 square foot building. And it consists of all the administrative service and support areas with the break room and everything. And then it'll have a 6-bay service garage, and we'll have 1 manual washing bay for the buses. And then we requested 3 alternate bids. Alternate 1 was to add a lift in the shop area to lift heavy items up into a mezzanine. Alternate 2 was to install an automatic bus washing system in that 7th bay. And then alternate 3 was installation of some 10-inch PVC in lieu of 8-inch for a sanitary line that was extending the length of the sanitary line to connect to a neighboring property. I'll explain that a little bit more here in a minute. The bids came in lower than projected by Cordy & Clark, and I've attached a copy of the bid tabulation sheet. And based on the bids we received, the low bidder for this, and I would like to recommend alternate number 2 for the wash bay. Base bid was $9,367,012. Alternate 2 was $353,000. So a total amount would be to be awarded would be $9,720,012. I would like to ask the approval of the board to negotiate the acceptance of alternate number 3. It's an add of $43,800. What this is we were contacted by the developer of a property next door to us. And the only way to get a sanitary line to our property or theirs is to cross Salt River Road. So what we did, our alternate 3 is the cost it would take to run an additional 10-inch sanitary line, because that's what would be needed. If it was only our property, we would only need an 8-inch line. But in order to accommodate both, we need a 10-inch line. So we asked for the alternate to run the 10-inch line, what that cost would be. And then the owner of the other property has also talked about sharing the cost of boring underneath Salt River Road. In the end, it saves us money because we're gonna have to be spending money to bore that regardless. So if they're willing to share that, that helps us out. So if we were to, we're still working with that company and their attorneys to see if we can negotiate them paying the $43,000, or let me go back to my notes here. Based on that, we obtained, they would reimburse us the $43,800 because that's the cost difference to go from 8-inch to 10-inch, and then we would split the cost of boring under Salt River Road, and I'm estimating their cost for that would be $44,700. So it's about $88,000 to bore under Salt River Road. So if we can work that out and they agree to it, then I would come back to the board and let you know that we would like to take that add of $43,800 as a large change order, and that cost would be then reimbursed back to the
So
district.
either way, we got to bore under the road.
Either way, we have to bore
So
it.
they're sharing the cost of that, so that
Yes.
saves us money.
Correct.
And they're paying what the extra is for the bigger pipe.
Correct, and the additional, because we're gonna run it longer as well.
What she's saying tonight is we're not looking for approval on alternate 3.
Three.
We're looking for permission to keep negotiating that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and LCS was the low bidder. They built the PDTC Center, they're building North Middle. They've been great to work with. They're good on problem solving, and I can't tell you how well they have been on North Middle School. With it being a 1950s building, we have run into several unforeseen, and they always help us problem solve and find the best, most economical resolution for every, and working with Cordy and Clark as well. And they've just been very good. So I would like to ask for the board's approval to award a contract to LCS for the base bid and alternate 2 at this time.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Reynolds?
Second.
Second, Mr. Brett. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Next, we have new business.
First item under new business takes us back to Brian. Brian, if you want to present for the recommendation of the 2024-25 tax rate. We'll go from there.
We are recommending the tax rate to stay unchanged at 4.2346 for valuation. It breaks out general fund 1.5412, special teachers 1.97, debt service 0.6534, and capital projects 0.07. And that tax rate, as I mentioned in the presentation earlier, gets us right close to where we budgeted property tax revenues to be at for this year.
Any questions? All right, if not, I need a motion to approve the 24-25 tax rate recommendation as presented.
Motion.
Mr. Helms, second, please. Mr. George, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Okay, and then the last item under new business is just a brief update on the superintendent search process. So we put together just a flow chart, mainly to help with kind of the thought process and conceptualizing how it's going to go. It's a little tricky to read here, but you can certainly see it in your packet. So we have at this point posted that position and pushed it out through the available sources that we would use to draw that. We have talked about and looked at the opportunity to use like search firms and the expenses associated with those. and don't feel like that's a necessary expenditure of taxpayer money, given that process. So after posting the position, now looking forward in terms of the remainder of these steps, we are prepared and will send out a community-based survey. We expect that to go live this Friday with a 2-week return window on it. That will be available through various communication platforms. It will go in-house to all of our staff, so they have an opportunity to see and review that. We will also make it available at public events that we're hosting, and Laura has put together some opportunities where we can use things like our QR codes to drive traffic to those surveys. So the intent would be to include input from all relevant stakeholders, community members, parents, students can complete the survey, and then obviously all of our staff as well. And then use and condense that information to come back. You see the October 11th application deadline, and with the survey closing on October 4th, the application deadline on October 11th, that allows us to have those 2 key sources of information to come back, and then the board can review that community survey feedback as we start to move into applicants. Again, as I think everyone would expect, we want to make sure that all members of our community have an opportunity to communicate with us about what they feel is important in finding my replacement. And we want to also make sure we're being careful with taxpayer money in terms of how we go out and do this process. So I think these steps, and then you can see the subsequent levels as you go through there, these steps accomplish both those goals in a very open fashion, and then gives the board great information to determine in reviewing the candidate pool and developing questions then as we get into selecting actual candidates themselves. So again, this is just a quick timeline, quick update. I guess one other question that we've talked about here is why this particular timeline? And I think it does a great job of allowing the board to be assertive in finding the best possible candidate early in the hiring window. And I think that's a good spot you want to be in. So any additional discussion or topics, I'm happy to share what I can, but just wanted to run this down a little bit for the benefit, but also for the benefit of the public so that they know kind of this is the thought process. There's no action on this item, just for discussion and review.
Any questions?
And I'm not saying,
I know it's only been a day or 2, but have we had applicants?
not yet.
And then I know, I like the timeline getting us out early, get our first shot at candidates. Because I think there are some other superintendent vacancies coming, right? So we're certainly going to be competing with those folks, so, this gives us the best opportunity to get first shot at who we want.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Regionally, right now, there are, well, I may have this all by one, there are at least 5 other openings for large districts and some smaller districts that are also, would be highly sought after. So that's kind of the thought process here as well, to do that, to make sure we have that information, given some of the other hiring windows that they're looking
All right.
at. That's all for new business.
Great. We move to comments from the board. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Pratt.
Sure. First, I noticed a lot of new employees in our consent agenda. I just want to welcome them to our school district, whether you're a para or custodian. We love having you come. Thank you. 2 weeks ago, I toured around 5 of the different schools. I know I went into Hawthorne Elementary, very excited about their HVAC. Lots of thanks. But I just, in general, I liked everything I saw out there. And last but not least, we have 12 students that are semifinalists for the National Merit Scholarship. This represents the 1% of the high school students who took the PSAT last year's juniors, and I'm going to try to get these names written and give them recognition as finalists, and I hope to read their names later as winners. But at East High, we have Gabriel Ostender, We have Ethan Lomas. At North High, we have Preston Patillo. We have Brady Van Wave as well. At South High, we have Daniel Dang, Richard Lee, Carter Mulling, and we also have Eden Nidungresis. At West High, we have Xisheng Shen, Aiden Henredy, we have Tyler Qin, and we also have Samrita Sivasankar. So congratulations on where you've gotten so far, and I hope you make it through the entire process.
Ms. Burke?
Thank you. I want to start off by saying thank you so much for all the work again that you guys put in the presentations and everything that you did. That was so much that you got done over the summer. I know our students are benefiting from that. Thank you so much. It's great to give them a good space to be able to learn. And then also wanted to say thanks to the West High SOS Club for creating messages that the district has been able to share on the app and social media this month. September is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month, and the SOS Club messages will be shared weekly for the next few weeks. SOS stands for Saving Our Students. Club members provide support to their peers by creating encouraging messages shared on campus, organizing collections for food and supplies that support our weekend backpack program, and organizing collections for our annual prom boutique.
Dr. Mary?
Well, certainly I want to reiterate thanks for all the work that we've gotten done with the bond issue. I think it's always great to make sure the public knows we're doing what we said we would do when they bestowed upon us the honor of getting the bond issue, so we want to make sure that we continue to do that. So thank you, everybody involved with it. There's lots of people that make that work. I do know, and I almost wish I thought ahead of time to ask, because I know a big frustration in the district right now is and I want to thank JB and his crew. I know this focus in the student information system is a challenge. A lot of things out of our control. I know everything that can be done is being done. I want to appreciate it. I know how much that is causing extra work for you and your folks, but certainly the impact it has on our staff and our students and our parents. I just want to say we know, and I get it, and I'm sorry, and I wish we could make it like JB does. We wish we could fix it faster, but we do feel the pain, and we know it's a struggle, and I just want to let you know from the board and administrative side that we certainly are committed to try and get that working as smoothly as possible, as quickly as possible. So, and I know I didn't change the agenda so we can talk about it, but I don't need to. I just want to make sure I express that. We're not oblivious that there are some issues there, and I know a lot of work's and a lot of times being put into fixing it, and I appreciate that. So, thank you.
Mr. George?
Thank you. So, unfortunately, Paul's leaving us. We heard that, but make sure you fill out your surveys so we can get some input from the community. Paper copies will be available at the district office on Terra Lane and at the Professional Development Center on Town Jennifer. That's all I have. Just be kind to each other, and in lieu of the Suicide Prevention Month, if you see somebody you think maybe you could use your help, reach out to them. You never know what difference you can make.
Mr. Howell?
All right. First thing I'd like to do is thank all our new employees for coming and being with us now. We do have a long list, as Mark mentioned. I was surprised when I got here. So welcome, and we appreciate you being here. Thank you to all of you that put in your work. Lisa, awesome job on construction. Appreciate you. Brian, thank you. Not raising the tax rate. One thing I do want to go over is Soup's On. That's a professional development. It's a luncheon we have at the Professional Development Center every 6 months. Is where Dr. Myers gets to give updates to our citizens who are our residents and citizens who are over 55. They get to get updates around the district and learn about our district programs and our initiatives. The only requirement is that you're a district resident and you're 55 or older. The next event is going to be October 2nd. We ask that you please just RSVP by September 25th. And to do that, you just need to call the district office. Last but not least, it is homecoming week. So, I'm sorry, homecoming season. So that starts this week. Each of our 4 high schools are celebrating homecoming over the next 3 weeks. So West is this week, North is next week, East and South are celebrating on the weekend of October 4th. We do hope that the community comes out and joins us for our parades. There should be 4 of them to choose from. And there are gonna be some other traditions around, I'm sure they'll see or they already may know about. We just ask everybody to have a good time. Please, please, please be safe. You know, it's an exciting time, and, you know, emotions run high, you have a good time, and sometimes we forget to think. And so just want to ask everybody, students, parents alike, just please be careful so we can have a great November next month. That's it for me.
Thank you. I also wanted to call out, tomorrow is IT Professional Appreciation Day. So to JB and his team, you guys have been through the ringer, and we know it's very frustrating, as Dr. Marion said, for everybody involved, but we also have a lot of faith in you guys, and we're so appreciative of everything you guys have done. And lastly, Miss Lisa, I want to congratulate you on your retirement, and thank you for everything you've done for the district. You have quietly sat behind the picture of so many things that have happened and made it happen. And I am so proud of everything you've accomplished and that you've been a part of this district. We wouldn't have come as far as we have. So thank you, and I hope you have many more wonderful trips, and we will miss you.
I will miss you guys a lot.
All right, with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All right, Mr. Helms, second, Mr. Pratt. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.